Hey everybody, welcome to Chin Fat. This episode, I am continuing on the series of how to edit a short film, and in this episode specifically, I'm going to be going over opening titles, closing credits for the movie. What we want to do is we want to finalize our timeline, get the timing all finished. So that means we're going to add about maybe 30-40 seconds of credits at the end, an opening title, which might add a little bit of time as well. We're going to kind of prep this, get it ready for doing a sound mix. And we're going to do this pretty much all in Premiere Pro. At the end of this episode, I'll show an alternative to doing a credit in After Effects, just an opening credit. Let me show you what we did with this, and I'll show you two different ways of doing this. One way to do it just completely in Premiere Pro, and then, because that's kind of the gist of this series. And then the other, the little segment at the end, the little, what would that be, addendum? Addendum, meaning, yes, addition. Okay, very good. I had it right. I knew I had it right, but I was just making sure. There we go. Yeah, so kind of a little addendum to this episode I'm going to be doing to show you how to do this in After Effects, a quick little thing. Because let me show you what we did, and then you can decide whether you want to keep it in Premiere Pro completely or try your hand at a little bit of After Effects. So what we ended up doing with this short film is right here, the opening credits once the movie starts. Has the title pop in at the beginning, and it actually motion tracks with the movement of the camera. So which I kind of like, but we're going to show you how to just do the composite right on top of the entire movie, and then we'll show you this little motion tracking thing at the end if you want to go with that option. So we're starting at the beginning here. What I'm going to do is, first of all, I want to add a little bit black video at the beginning. I want at least a couple seconds. And what I recommend for people doing whenever they're showing something on YouTube or just showing it like even if it's like in a movie theater or a screening or something like that, it's always nice to have a couple seconds of just black space before the movie actually starts, especially on YouTube, because you have like when you go full screen, it takes a couple seconds for the full screen messages to disappear. And also at the end, I like to leave a little bit extra black because they have all those extra things kind of pop in at the end, all the little on-screen things that pop up on YouTube at the end, so it doesn't block the movie or anything. Okay, so I'm going to go down here and we're going to hit New Item. I am going to generate black video. I'll base it off the resolution of my timeline, and the timeline resolution is 4096 by 2160 and 24 frames per second. So I'm going to hit OK, and it will generate this black video title down here, this black video file down here in my project window. I'll double click on that, and I'm going to set this for let's say 3 seconds. We want 3 seconds at the beginning, maybe 2 to 3 seconds is good. Let's go 3 since it's for YouTube, so it gets a chance to get rid of all that full screen stuff. I'm going to click right here in the time code. It's got a 5-second clip of black video, but you can go 300, that's 3 seconds and 00 frames, hit return, and hit the letter O for out point. It already has an endpoint set, so you set the out point, and now I've got 3 seconds of video. I'm going to jump to my timeline, Shift 3, and I'm going to make sure I'm at the beginning of it. Right now it's going to, I've got my source patching to video track 2. I'm going to put it to video track 1. And you want to, if your timeline is if your playhead is somewhere in the middle, you can hit the home key, which will take you to the very, very beginning. And I'm going to hit the comma key, which will do an insert edit. It will insert that in and shove everything else down. Let's say I want 5 seconds of black at the end, because like I said, if it's for YouTube specifically, I'll do about 5 seconds, just because those last second little channel things pop up and other alternate videos to click on will pop up at the end. So I'm going to type in 500 seconds, and now I've got 5 seconds of black video. I'll hit O for out point, and now I've got a 5-second run of black video. I'm going to hit Shift 3, go to my timeline, hit End to go to the end of my timeline. And let's see if we got it. We do have a fade in at the beginning. I don't seem to have a fade out at the end, but maybe I want to cut to black at the end, and it'll cut to credits. We'll decide that later, but right now I am going to add my black video at the end. So I'll hit comma or period because there's no video clips in the way, so it doesn't matter if I do insert or overwrite edit, but right now I'll just do an overwrite edit because it doesn't matter. So period or comma, it doesn't matter. Period will do the overwrite edit. And now I'm going to hit the slash above my return key and look at my entire timeline here. All right, that's how to get the black video there. Let's go ahead and start adding, let's add an opening title at the beginning. I'm going to hit home key to jump to the beginning. I'm going to go arrow down to jump 1 frame down, and I want it to fade in somewhere around here. So, and one thing I showed earlier as well is, and one thing that I have with the exercise files is going to be the fonts. You'll see this fonts folder in the downloads here, the downloaded zip file, and you can go in there, and I've got the Spooky Ghoster TTF and the Valium TTF. I ended up using the Valium TTF. If you double click on this, it will install it on your system. If Premiere is already open, you have to restart Premiere. You have to completely shut it down and restart it. So right now, this is the font that I decided to use. I've already installed it on my computer. Right now it's asking if do I want to replace because it's already there. Now it's fine. I've already got it there. So I'm going to just quit this. Command Q and quit it. But yeah, you'll want to install that, and then Premiere Pro to quit it. You'll go up to Premiere Pro and quit it completely, restart it, and then the font will show up inside your graphics here. One thing you used to have to do, and you don't really have to do this anymore because everything is now in the properties window for just basic credits and titles. But if you go up to Window, Workspaces, and you go to Captions and Graphics, it used to be under this panel right here, but they've moved it to the property panel. So you can basically, they do have templates in here. If there's templates you want for credits, I'm not really going to show that. I'm going to show how to do your own custom titles. But these are kind of nice. If you, they have a load of titles you can choose from. You just basically grab these and drag them, and it will download it from Adobe and drop it right on top there. And they have these little animated graphics. That's a lower third there, but let's grab one of these animated ones and show you here. So maybe this one right here, we're going to drag that down. And then you can edit these things, of course, as well. But this has these nice little animations at the beginning. Then you can stretch these out to make them last longer. You can do a fade out at the end, but they all start with this little fade in here. Let's just play through it. So it fades in, and you can go in and edit these by simply clicking on it. And these are editable in the Properties tab. So now I have to go back. I either have to add my Properties tab here, go to Window and add my Properties tab, or you can go back to, here it is right here, and we can just grab that tab and put it right in the center here and drop it off. And now we've got that. And it's got all the elements here, but I'm not going through this right now. This gets a little complex, so I'm not going to go through this, but you can change your title. You can change whatever you want to, colors, and a whole bunch of different things. But we're just going to go through the basic property tab. I'm going to keep it like this view right here rather than just do my editing layout. So the editing layout, let me show you what I like to do. So on the editing layout, I will go from my editing layout, go to my graphics, captions and graphics layout, which gives it a longer section right here so you can see all of your properties. But if your properties is not there, which is not by default, then you have to go up to Window and go down and hit Properties. And it will likely show up as a free floating window that'll be kind of square like this. And you can go up and grab it by the name right here, grab it by the tab, drag it over and put it so this big square is in the middle. Don't put it side by side or over the right side or up or down. Put it right in the center and I'll drop it there. And now you have these graphics templates and your properties right here. Now when you select the graphic that you created in your timeline, it'll have all the properties for it right here. And that is found also in your editing layout, in your assembly layout. The properties tab they've added that about like just about a year ago. All right, let's get into the graphics now. So I'm going to go up to my text tool here. I'm going to go up to right here to my text tool, my type tool, sorry. Whenever I kind of want, maybe I want it to fade in right about here. I'm just going to move up to my screen and I'm going to hit click right there and add that right there. So now I can start typing and I'm going to type in the words hush, little baby. It's remembering that font from the last title that I dropped in there. And this is a little tricky here, but what you got to do is once you've typed that in there, you've got to go up and select your arrow tool. This is your selection tool, and it kind of finalizes this. And now you can move this around. You can size it. You can resize it. You can rotate it. If you want to go to the edge here and rotate, you can rotate, put it on an angle, move it around. But also one thing you do when you're in your arrow view here, it's also in the edit mode. If you have your cursor inside of here, you're not going to have access to some of those options over here. So you have to click your selection tool, and now you have access to your title here. And one thing you got to know is this is your graphics file right here. And within your graphics file, you can have multiple text layers here. Let me undo this, get it back to where it was, like right there. But you could put like a title up here, and on that same graphics file right there, you can add more titles. If you want to add a new text layer within that graphics file, you go to your text tool, your type tool again, move over here and click. And with this selected, it has added a new text graphic inside of this. And we can say starring Chuck. Just Z-Chuck. Z-Chuck's a new actor. So I'm going to go to my selection tool here, and we can move these around. We can make these independent of each other as far as the size, the font, the color, all that different type of stuff. And we can make our titles here, whatever size we want. And there we go. So we have those two things on the same title. Okay, so here's one text file, and there's the other text file. But I'm not going to do that right now, but just to show that you can do that. So, and this belongs all to this file down here. If we select this file and do Command D, it'll do a dissolve on both sides, and that title will now fade in and fade out. So it fades in and fade out. Once again, I don't know who Z-Chuck is, but I want to meet him. He sounds like a great actor with a cool name. So I'm going to select the Z-Chuck. I'm going to delete it because we're just going to have the title card just saying "Hush, Little Baby." So we could do something like this. So if you wanted, actually, if we wanted to do three titles, we could do like maybe staggered "Hush, Little Baby." First of all, let's choose our look before we start working on that. And then we'll show you some tricks here. It'll make it a little bit easier to do our text once we choose the look here. So I'm going to go down. I know I want this red, so I'm going to do it red so it kind of looks like blood. So I'm going to click on the fill option here, and I'm going to turn it to red. I'm going to find the red color that I want there. Let's see if I can do it without the selection so I can kind of see what it looks like without the selection. I'm just going to hit my arrow tool, hit the fill, and then, yeah, now you can see, you can preview and see what it looks like. I'm going to do it kind of a dark red color like that, and I'm going to add an outline to it. Let's change it to the font that I want as well. So hit OK. So one thing, you can alter text while you're in the selection tool like this if you're selected, and you can also hit your arrow and it will edit the entire text box. So I'm just going to keep it like that because I'm editing the entire text box. So I'm going to go over to my fonts and pull this down. Actually, let's type in the search Valium, and there it is right there. I'm going to select that, and now let's change it to that font. I want to put a bit of an outline on this here. Let's see if, well, it doesn't have a bold, so we're going to put a little outline around the edge to make it stand out more. We're going to go to stroke. That's going to be the outline right there. But right now it's set for white, so we'll just check mark it, and you'll see what it's doing. It's got that outline around it in white. It's 1 pixel. I think that's as small as you can get. I don't think you can do a half a pixel, 0.5. Nope, it only does it by pixel, which makes sense. It's just 1 pixel wide going around the entire file there. But let's try and change this to black. I'm going to click on it. Let's see what this looks like when I do it in black. Okay, let's turn this on and off and see if it stands out more. Off, on. It does make it stand out just a little bit more. It gives it a little bit more of a contrast to the edge. We can try stroke 2 and see what that does. It's a little darker. Let's see what that looks like. I'm liking that. Let's go with that. I like the outline on it. The 2 pixel stroke outline there. Let's stagger these. So I'm going to need 3 different text files. So that's the look that I want right there. I like it. I'm going to go with it. So now I'm going to double click in here. So I have the cursor in there, and I'm going to grab little baby. I'm going to hit Command X or Control X on my PC, which will cut it. So let me arrow back to just get it down to hush. All right, so now what I can do is duplicate this file here. I'm going to right click on it and say duplicate. It will duplicate that, and now I've got 2 files that are exactly the same. I can double click in here, and we're going to say little, and now we're going to duplicate this. So I'm going to right click on that and go duplicate, and I'm going to grab the duplicate one and put it down here, and we'll call it and put baby. There we go. And let's make hush bigger, hush little baby, like that. All right, so now we have the fade in and fade out already on it. So let's see when we want this to come in. I'm going to drag it over and decide. I'm going to pause this where I want it to fade in. So we're going to play through this. Maybe right about there I want it to start, so I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to drag this, and then I'm going to play through it and decide where I want to stop. I'll drag it out further, hush little baby, and then fade out maybe as it starts getting to the bed. Let's drag it back. I'm going to increase the fade in and fade out, so I can do it kind of slowly. Maybe extend this a little bit and increase the distance of that fade in. Let's take a look at that. Maybe a little too long. Let's start fading it out sooner and play through it. That's plenty of time to read it and fade out. I like that. That's good timing there. Cool. Okay, well, we've got that timed out. Another thing we could do here, let's say we want it, let's get a little creative and say I want hush, then little, then baby to fade in. What we could do is I'm going to select this file here, and I'm just going to delete, get rid of I do like this, but let's say we want them to fade in one at a time. You'll have to do them as separate graphic files here. So I'm going to delete little, and I'm going to delete baby, and have hush fade in first of all. So hush is going to fade in first of all. Hush, and then we'll make these a little shorter now. We're doing a different thing here. So I'll have that fade out. I'm going to stretch this credit out just a little bit. And now what you can do is duplicate this graphic file down here on your timeline. Rather than duplicating the text files within your graphic file, the text layers, I'm going to Option and drag this up. That would be Alt drag up on a PC. So what I'm doing there is I'm holding down Option or Alt, and then I'm grabbing the file while I'm holding that down and drag it up, let go with the mouse, then let go of Option. And now we can grab this and offset it here. I'm going to let's grab the second file here. I'm going to move it down here. I've got it selected, so that's the one that is grabbed. This one I've grabbed. I'm going to put little in here, little, and we're going to make this smaller and move it over here. And then I'm going to duplicate this again. Let's drag this down a little bit so we can see more. And I'm going to Option and drag that up, and now it's duplicated that file. So now I can offset this and select it, and let's grab this, drag it down, the duplicate, and type in baby. Make it look like steps there, maybe a little bit bigger on baby and a little bit smaller on little, like that. Okay, now we can make these all last the same amount of time. Let's make it lose the screen by that time right there and see what we've got. Now each one will fade in one after the other. Let's play through it and see that. It's a little too slow. I like the look of it, but it's just a little too slow. That stays on too long. Now let's grab this first one, drag it over, and have it start right about there. Let's see how the timing of that goes. Hush, little, and then make baby fade in right there. That's good timing. And we'll make these all end right here. Cool. Let's take a look at that. Hush, little, baby. I like that timing. Good. And I'm going to make these fade out a little faster. We don't need them. Oops. So let's grab the ends of all three of these here and drag them all over like that. See, hush, little, baby, and fade out. Cool. I like that. And if you want to get even more creative, you can do this. It'll watch this so that these two will fade out and it will leave baby on the screen and fade out baby. I like that. Okay. We'll go with that for now. Cool. All right, so we're done with our opening credits. We're going to go to our closing credits now. So what I'm going to do is, since I've got this style already kind of down, I'm going to select one of these files and I'm going to do Command-C to copy. And I go to the very end of my timeline, hit end. I'm going to arrow up one file here. And let's get rid of this black video for now, because I'm going to create all my titles and I'll put 5 seconds after it when I'm done. All right, now I'm going to paste and put this style of file right here at the end, because we're going to use this for our end credits. We'll show you a couple ways to go doing this. I'm going to do some scrolling credits. I'm going to select my dissolve and to get rid of dissolve in and out, because it's going to scroll onto the screen. Let's grab this. I'm going to center it for right now. I'm going to center the text within my box and center it on screen. So this is centering it within the box. Right now, the anchor point is over here, which means it's not centered. It's down in the lower left-hand corner is that anchor point, which means it grows out from that point. Let's double click in here, go here and center it. Now it's centered within the box. That way, if you hit return and you type in more, it'll center everything here like that. So now everything's centered. And the way it was before, if I didn't have it that way, this is aligned to the left here. So if I hit return and I type in little, it's going to be all aligned to the left like this. But if you select it all, do center, it'll center everything. And then everything, I'm going to keep everything centered. I might change my mind on this, but let's mess with this. But if you wanted to center this on your screen as well, you also have these options down here, align. So this is all centered within the box. But if you want to center it on screen, you have this right here. This align center horizontally, we'll take it to the center here, and align it vertically, we'll center it right here. So it's like this perfect X right in the middle, and now that is perfectly centered in the middle of my screen. Let's say at the end, we're going to have it cut to black, and then we're going to fade in this title. We're going to do some scrolling credits here at the end as well. So let's just bring this, let's leave this the way it is, like right that to fade in, to just show you a different style. So right here, we cut to black, and then fade in maybe a little bit longer there, because we're going to have that baby laughing at the end and kind of echoing off into nothing, and then it will fade in. So we're going to have that fade in, and then let's have that kind of short. We'll have it fade right back out like that, and now we're going to have a credit scroll. I'm going to Option and grab this, or an Alt on a PC, and you drag it to the left, let go of the mouse, then let go of Option. And now I've got a duplicate here, and we're going to have all the credits start fading in right here. This is where I'm going to get rid of my crosses, because it will not fade in and out. It will scroll from the bottom off screen onto the screen and then scroll past it till it's done. So I can butt these up against each other right now. But now what I've got is I've got a credits list. You should have this credits list under the production materials. If you double click on this, it'll open it up in a spreadsheet, and we've got all the credits typed in here. We've got the cast, we've got the crew, we've got the music, and then we've got produced at Salt Lake Community College in 2023. So what we could do is I want to do 2 different columns here. I want to have, and if you had these, right now I didn't fill these in because these are just some names I put here. They are all kind of pasted on this. But let's say we've got the director. You can put them on the right here. Let's say we've got a cinematographer. Let me fill in all these credits here, and then we'll come back and show you the next step. Okay, we're back here, and now I've got all these filled in right here. So you can fill these in yourself. These were just all one crew that we all kind of pitched in and did this. So they were just learning, so we didn't have a whole bunch of specific positions here. All right, so now we've got one column. We've got the cast, we've got the crew, and we've got the names on the left-hand side, and we got their positions over here on the other side. So what I'm going to do is let's put in cast first of all. I'm going to go to my file right here, and we are going to select this text. I'm going to justify to the left. I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to put our positions on the left, and we'll put our names on the right. We're going to reverse it from our spreadsheet here. And then we'll put our the names on the right hand side. I like that more. We say what they did and what their names are on the right. So I'm going to double click in here. Let's align this to the left here. My arrow tool, let's move it over. We're going to have this on the left hand side of the screen, and we're going to go to our spreadsheet here, and I'm going to grab the cast members. We're going to copy those, come back over here and paste those right there. So let's get rid of Hush here. We got Dad, Mom, and Singing Voice. Oops, and I did not delete the little baby. Get rid of that. There we go. So we got those 3 names right there. We're going to change the size of this. I choose my arrow tool, and we're going to change the size of this and get it to where I think it will fit. We're going to align all these and get everything all ready to go on this one graphic file here. Now they've got that, I can right click and duplicate this, and we're going to drag that over. And by the way, as you start dragging over, if you hold down shift, so you have to start dragging first and then hold down shift, it will align it. It'll keep it lined up to the same height as this over here. So they line right up here. So now I'm going to go over and grab my names. Grab all the names of the actors here and double click in here and paste them in there. Let's get rid of this extra space between them. We can put gaps between them like that. That'll be fine. I'm going to do the same over here. I'm going to go gap, so you can see who's who over here. So let's select this one and this one. By the way, I'm holding down, I click on one, hold down shift, click on the other, and it selects both of them. And then when you change the font size here, it will change them both at the same time and keep them the exact same size. Like right there, that looks good. Let's center align this, see if that works. Oh, center aligns both. That's not going to work. So we're just going to have to kind of eyeball it here, which is fine. And I'm going to make this one aligned to the right. So let's deselect, select here, and we're going to do this to the right. Let's drag that over and show you what that looks like. There we go. So you have these over to the left and these over to the right. That looks good to me. We could even put the Singing Voice. Let's click in here and hold down. And if you hit return, put Singing Voice. That way we can get them closer together if we want. And then we'll see how you can really see who's who here. So I'm going to scroll this over like this. Oh, and by the way, I start moving, then hold down shift and it locks it to that vertical or horizontal position. Same as if you drag it up and you start moving it, you hold down shift after you start dragging it up and it locks it to this vertical position here. But I want to keep these horizontally aligned right there. So that looks good. Maybe this a little bit closer. Maybe this a little bit closer like that. And now let's put cast above this. So I'm going to right click on one of these, do duplicate. And I'm going to grab this. Let's just put it right here, double click in here, and we'll say cast in all caps. I'm going to grab this, let's grow it out, and I'll put that, line it up right about there. Okay. So next thing that we're going to do is we want to keep adding down to this, but you don't really have any room on the screen here. So one thing that you do, I'm going to lengthen this out maybe twice the length there. Make this about a 20-second file for now. So now to do scrolling credits, you're going to make sure you're not selecting a text box or it will not show up the scroll, because it cannot scroll an individual text file, but it can scroll the entire graphics file. So you deselect, select the graphics file, and it brings up a whole new menu here with all these text files embedded, but now we have roll right there. That is our credit scroll right there. And now at the beginning, it will have it off screen, and as you play into it, it will scroll till it reaches the end. So now what I can do is I can start adding more names and files onto here. So I'm going to click onto this one. Actually, let's add their own boxes. I'm going to right click on Mom and Dad Sings Voice here, and I'm going to duplicate that, drag it down, and this is going to be our crew. So I'm going to drag it down. Notice how it pushes it up when I start dragging this down because it's changing the timing because it's got more scroll to do. So I'm going to do that again. Start dragging down, then hold shift to lock it to right there. Let's go over and grab our credits here. We're going to grab all of our crew. This will be more names. Copy. Come back. Double click in there. Paste it. And this we're going to have to be changing the size on, which is fine. I'm going to go and grab my arrow tool, and we're going to shrink this down. Let's scroll to the very end here so we can see the bottom. I want to do it from the bottom left and drag it up like this. Move it back, and we're going to have to move that up. Now it's a little smaller. Let's put this over to the side. It's a little bit bigger. We can rearrange these things when we get everything finished as well, when we get all the credits on here. But I've got that one laid over to the right here. Let's right click on that and duplicate it. And I'm thinking that's about the size. We can change the size together. So we're going to right click and do duplicate, grab that duplicate file, drag it over, hold down shift. Once you start moving it, hold down shift, and it locks it to its horizontal position there. Put it right about there. We are going to align that to the right, which will make us drag it over again. And now it's all to the right. So let's go to our spreadsheet. We're going to copy all these. These should line up with them. We're going to double click in there, Command V to paste, and everything should line up perfectly going across here. We're going to grab our play bar and play further into it here. Those look like they could be a little bit bigger. So let's grab the arrow tool, select it, hold down shift, select the other one, and let's make these grow and scale at the same time. And we want them close together, but not so close together that they overlap the names. That looks pretty good there. So now let's go down and make this fit in my window again. And now we've got cast, and we want to do crew above this one right here. So I'm going to pull these down a little bit just to get a little extra room. I've got them both selected. Let's grab it, start pulling down, hold down shift now, and right about there. And now I can go to the beginning and grab my cast. Let's right click and duplicate that, drag it down. I'm going to hold down shift and drag it down. I'm going to have to progress this to get it right in the right spot and drag that down more. Hold down shift to keep it centered. Double click, crew. There we go. And let's add the other items here. Go to the end. Copy and paste one of these. Let's copy and paste this one that I've got selected there. Duplicate, not copy and paste, duplicate it. Grab it, drag it down right there. Bring it back and see if that's got enough space. There we go. Maybe a little bit further. We can call this category music. So let's go grab our cast or crew, and we're going to right click and duplicate, and we're going to drag this one down and move it along, and we'll say music. I'm going to move this a little further down. I want it right about there. I'll say music, and now we'll grab this. I got to hit my arrow tool, grab this, drag it down, and we're going to go right there for right now. Okay, let's go grab our music off the spreadsheet. We've got these two items right here. They're taken from Incompetech. Double click it here, Command V to paste, and let's center all this. Let's click in here and select all, center it within the box, and now we're going to center it on screen as well. Our center alignment right here. And now center aligned. Let's grab the arrow tool. We're going to shrink this. Let's go over here and shrink down the font size. That'll help us shrink there. There we go. Move that up a little bit. Hold down shift and keep it aligned. And let's see how that looks as it plays past the music. That looks good. Could make it a little bit bigger. Music is not perfectly centered. Let's perfectly center that right here. There we go. And this is perfectly centered. It was off a little bit. There we go. Okay, that's all perfectly centered now. Cool. So we got our music. And now let's put our final produced at Salt Lake Community College right here. Copy. Let's copy our text box right there because it's already centered. So let's right click on this, duplicate, drag it down, hold down shift to keep it centered. Maybe a little bit more of a gap, double click, paste that in there, hit the arrow tool, and we're going to make this bigger now. So make that nice and big. Scroll that down. Oops, I misspelled college. I went to college, and I don't know how to spell college. Go figure. Okay. All right, we got that all in there. Let's put a copyright in here. We're going to go down. We'll put copyright, and let's be cool. We'll put it as, let's go down one more line and say copyright. And then let's do Roman numerals. Roman numerals for 2023 is right there. MMXXIII, all letters. Now we're going to be really cool and put our copyright in there. Cool. That's the year. Copyright that year, 2023. So 2 millennia. 2 10s and a 3. So that's 2023. Now the last thing we need to do with our titles here is we want to make sure that the speed is at a proper speed. When you're running at 24 frames per second, if your credit scroll is too short, what will happen is you'll get this. You'll get a little bit of strobiness. See, this looks stroby at 24 frames per second. It's going too fast to read anyway. The credit scroll starts at 2:15 and it ends at 2:21. So that's really, really short. That's like less than 10 seconds there. We're going to make this for a short film, maybe about 20 seconds. But what you want to do, if you're doing a credit scroll, you want it to stretch it out long enough to where it does not look stroby. Let's just go out a little bit more and see if it still looks stroby. See, that still looks stroby to me. Let's go full screen. That looks stroby there. It doesn't look good. So we're going to have to slow this down. So I'm going to grab it, drag it up maybe like 20, 30 seconds. Now let's see how that looks. That's looking better. It's a little stroby, but that'll do there. If you want to even go a little bit more. And another way to fix this is you could put all the names together and have less credit scroll. Now it goes from 2:15 to, it's almost about 20 seconds. Let's go to 2:35 and make it about 20 seconds there. 20 seconds total, right there to 35. Let's kill the rest of that, hit W and kill it to the right. And now that's a 20 seconds credit scroll. So at the end, we cut to black. You hear the baby laughing, and then the music starts, and that's going to be the sound mix right there. So Hush Little Baby. See, I'm going to shorten that. That seems a little too long now. Hush Little Baby, right there, and I'm going to hit, let's bring it right about here, and I'm going to hit W to the right. Now let's see how the timing feels. That feels good to me. And that looks good right there. The scroll, it's a teeny bit stroby, but it's very subtle. I think that works. Let me show you what happens if you drag it way up. But we don't want it to be that long because it's a short film. And to have what is this? Like a 2-minute short film, and then have the credits run for a whole minute. That's like 1:30 your movie. So you don't want to run it that long. But let's look at this. Let's add another like 10 seconds to it. And now look at the credits. That looks really good. Now you notice that it does not look really stroby at all. It's looking pretty nice. It's looking nice and smooth. Especially at 24 frames per second, it'll tend to be a little stroby if you pass it by too fast. We could go in and make the text smaller. That would make it scroll faster without doing the strobing, but I'm just going to undo that. I think this looks pretty good. Maybe a couple more seconds, and I think that looks really good. I think that speed looks nice there. Okay, so now I'm going to go to the end here. So my credits will finish at the end, and they will scroll past, and the music will fade out right there. And now I want to put that 5 seconds of black video. Double click on my black video. I've already have this set at 5. Period to drop that in, and now I've got the whole duration of the whole movie right there. So when we sound mix to this, we'll have the music fade up. We'll have the baby laughing into the credits a little bit, and it starts laughing at the end, and then we will play, and then the credits will play, and music will be playing. So that's all part of the sound mix. But now I've got everything in my timeline. I've done my working cut. I've got everything. I've done all my nitpicky changes, and this thing is picture locked. I've added the opening titles. I've added the closing credits, and I am ready to go. So if you want to stick around for the process on watching the After Effects tutorial now, you're welcome to do that. Like I said, this is an addendum to this episode. So otherwise, if you're doing it all in Premiere, that's it for this tutorial. And the next episode, we will be getting into sound mixing. And then after that, we'll be getting into color grading and finally finishing our short film.